Okay, let me tell you something. Colleagues. You see,
Okay.
when you have developed the instrument by yourself, you can now go on to do expert validation, where you have face validity, someone trying to look at it to see whether the English language is okay, whether the instrument is actually the items are actually addressing what you intend to do, right? There is a need for you to do that. But that is when you want to do an exploratory factor analysis. This confirmatory factor analysis, you see why it is good for you to adapt an instrument. Because the paper that has validated that instrument, the authors that have validated the instrument ab initio have already done the expert validity, criterion, content validity, face validity, all manner of validities that we hear in our institutions. They have been done. And then exploratory factor analysis done. All you need to do is adapt the instrument. For example, if the author said, if the original scale said, my teacher supports me in the class, for example, and in this particular study that you are conducting, the point of focus there is not my teacher, maybe my supervisor. All you need to do is that in your study, in the background of the study, you need to explain that the supervisor in your own study plays the same role of the teacher. You need to conceptualize it well so that the reader will understand that when you are talking about supervisor in your own context, that it means teacher. Now, when you now use the teacher-related support scale, you may have adapted. If you now come to that place where the person says teacher, you simply change it and adapt it and change it into what? My supervisor. In your own context, the English language is already correct. The face validity has been done. The exploratory factor analysis has been done. So this has now averted the problem of going to look for 3 experts in measurement and evaluation and the econometrics and the whatever area to validate the instrument. Those things have been taken away. Simply adapt, take to the field, collect your data. When you come back, check the reliability. Do the confirmatory factor analysis. That's all. That's all. If the data fits the model, if you achieve the model fit, which we want to do now, go on to test your hypothesis. If you do not meet the model fit, find out where the problem is in your data set. If your data set is not good, try to go back to the field to recollect the data. Yes, and be much careful. Ensure that you give people time to respond to the instrument. For example, when I want to collect data, I allow participants or respondents 1 week to go home with the data. Take their time, study it and tick. If you give them, okay, wait, and collect it, they tick 1. Okay, yes, agree, strongly agree, disagree, yes, and then, take it. Chances are that they are not reading the content of that instrument. And you will run into this kind of problem where a lot of your items will not load well. Because what you are seeing here is a typical example of what the people responded. Nothing more, nothing less. Nothing more, nothing less.
So sir.
Yes.
For instance, now, what about if I just after I had finished developing my instrument or adapting it? What about if I just go ahead with the expert validation and leave all the factor analysis?
That is no. If you do that in a top journal, it will never be published. Quote me. We are talking about.
Sir, even in the factor analysis, you know that when you get your instrument, you give the scale. At least when you read the scale, maybe You have given the expert the instruction on how they are going to validate your instrument, and you have given the scale, like scale of 1, 2, 3. Maybe if it is good, you might say it is high 1, moderate 2, low 3. After you have given them and you give them the instrument for validation, after they have validated the items, you have to go and calculate your CVI. With your CVI, if it is less than 0.7, it is not good. But if it is from 0.7 and above, it is very good. When you calculate your content validity index, after you have finished calculating the content validity index and you have gotten your value based on kappa, like what he said, if it is above 0.7, it is good.
That is the same thing that...
And you mentioned it in the study. You have calculated the content validity index and everything, and you have shown where the expert have validated the instrument. Then before you go for pilot testing, you run analysis on reliability, whether it's Chromebook Alpha or you use WinStafe and got personal reliability and the extra reliability.
You know what you're saying now is a typical example of someone who wants to develop an instrument by himself. Is that clear? If you want to develop an instrument by yourself, then you can do all these rigorous processes. Fantastic. As a matter of fact, for you to develop an instrument, I can send you a paper by Carpenter, 2018. There are 10 steps for developing an instrument before you can develop an instrument that anybody can adapt. 10. There are 10 steps that you need to take, right? However, the beauty of adapting instruments is that it is very simple. It's very easy. Adapt the instrument and walk away. Go to the when you adapt the instrument, all you need to do is to make sure that the instrument fits into your context. How does it do that? How do you do that? You read the content of the instrument to make sure that it fits into the context of your study. Once you do that, maybe at that point you may need to meet 1 or 2 experts to look at it. But remember not to alter the instrument because you are adapting someone's existing instrument. And once you adapt that instrument and make a few modifications, very few, not modification per se, but a few rewarding, very few rewarding to suit the context of your study, then you go on to collect the data. So you don't need to go to 40 experts to validate, 300 this person to do, or 8. You have gone. You don't need to do all those things anymore. You get the point I'm trying to make?
Yes.
Then when you finish collecting your data, all you need to do is impute your data in SPSS, and then go on to do what? Do a confirmatory factor analysis. The first point of call, forget that I'm doing this pattern factor analysis here. I may decide on my own. To do what? To go to AMOS directly and start imputing the data one by one. But that takes a lot of time. So I need to use pattern matches to reduce the number. Is that clear? So let us move on. I think we have spent quite a long time here discussing this particular matter.